How should the Sixers use Mr. Ben Simmons?
Well, for one, he's still got to be aggressive. The one I think of a young LeBron James. That's the guy that he's very comparable to. For the first 3 quarters, even though LeBron wasn't known as a three-point shooter, he would always take his shots. He would always take the threes. Whether he made or missed them, he would put them up. My big problem, Philadelphia's big problem in the fourth quarters, is that he doesn't even attempt the shots to get better to actually be able to make them. Last night against Utah, he did knock down a mid-range jumper, a nice little fadeaway. Nice addition to the game. Reggie Miller went nuts when he heard it. Pre-game, you saw him getting up 3-point shots. And the thing about today's NBA for a guy who's technically a non-shooter, you can put him in the corners because you do have the luxury of a Jimmy Butler. So I love the fact that he's working on those corner threes. He's trying to improve who he is.
Yeah, Ryan, I think we should call you Hard Truth Hollins because you set the internet ablaze with these takes.
They hated
but
him.
it's really kind of a good conversation to be had because these are hard truths. Now, what would you say would be the time period in which you bench Ben Simmons?
Well, obviously, if strategically you get in these big games and you're gearing up for the playoffs and you guys continue to lose, the spacing becomes an issue because everybody on film that scouts Philly, they say don't guard him when it comes to fourth quarters. Stay in front, yeah.
But are you saying more crunch time, like
it's
the
more
final
of an
3
offense,
minutes?
yeah, it's more of an offense-defense type of move. But if he can knock down a corner three because you have the ball in Jimmy Butler's hands, because make no mistake, the process is over. They got to win. Nothing else matters in Philadelphia. If they don't win in the playoffs and make a run, at least to the finals or to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I hear your red alert, but I will raise you this. How about this? The 76ers, they sort of need to go into every game with 2 game plans. One game plan for transition. Ben Simmons, that's where he excels.
Yes.
He facilitates, he finds others. He's able to finish with a 6'10 strong frame like LeBron James, his big guy, his mentor. But the second game plan should be the half court. And where have we seen him work in the half court? That pick and roll with Jimmy Butler. That's great and all until Joel Embiid came out and said, hey, you guys are infringing on my space. My numbers are going down. And you alluded to this. The NBA is at this point where you're playing 4 around 1. Instead, they're trying to play 3 around 2, and it doesn't work anymore. So instead of going nuclear and saying you bench Ben Simmons, especially in the clutch, one thing I've realized, we're post ourselves, that short corner should be his sweet spot. If you're in that opposite short corner when Joel Embiid has the ball, he can dive to the rim if his guy helps. If not, the help cannot go.
But real quick, they did that last game, and Horford just sat back and guarded 2, or Morris. They just guarded 2 guys, and spacing-wise, you got to clear that thing all the way out because Jimmy Butler's a guy who can go and get you a fourth quarter bucket. We seen buckets, Jimmy buckets all season long. You know what I'm saying? But they got in each other's way, and if he's so reluctant to shoot the ball, you can't do it. We play with Blake Griffin and DeAndre. We would put Blake Griffin in the strong side corner where it's an easy 3, and if you go off and help as DeAndre was rolling to the rim, Blake could knock down that corner 3, and you see him shooting better. But he's got to attempt him.
How do you think they should use him?
No, listen, I think, what Chiney said about the transition, that's his strong game. I think, I look at a guy like T.J. McConnell. Like, when he's in there, first of all, I think he spaced the floor because he's actually a guy who's not afraid to shoot. He can shoot from the outside. So it does give a guy like Embiid more room to operate when he's out on the floor. Again, the transition game, that's Ben Simmons' strong suit. But when you get into a grind, when you get into the fourth quarter, when things potentially start slowing down, then that's when everything gets clogged up. And it makes it harder for, Embiid to try to get his shot because everyone's collapsing down on him.
The best shot they have is to be able to work with this big 3. They finally got a third option in Jimmy Butler. You would be remiss to not put him in a situation, Ben Simmons, where he can be successful. He has to shoot the ball. And for those saying that he can't, y'all, it takes a while to feel comfortable shooting. You can't do that overnight. The one thing, and I know they have a lot of worries coming off of the Markelle Fultz situation. This is a guy whose shot has a nice release. It just takes time to be confident in shooting the ball. So
he's
they just
capable.
have to play. Yeah,
he's capable. I've seen him work it out, knock down 3, but
you just want him to shoot
he got to try it. He's got to try it.
You know who's done that pretty well? Lonzo Ball. No one was really talking about how he was shooting some air balls in the fourth quarter early in the year, but he taught himself how to make them.
He took them.
It's just crazy. He hasn't attempted a 3-point shot this season. He's 0 for 11 in his career from 3.